Hi everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a new segment of YouTube videos which have to do with current events which are in the news. So I'm calling it the In the News segment. And to kick off this new segment, we'll be talking about MegXit, or the exit of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry from the British royal family. Last month, January 2020, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, announced on Instagram they decided to step back from royal duties, or they decided to, I think, step back as senior members of the royal family and split their time between the United Kingdom and probably North America, Canada, or United States. We're not sure yet. So this is a big decision, and they just got married a couple of years ago. They had a baby last year, so it's like a lot of changes happening in their lives. So I thought, that's a perfect chart to look at to look at in our In the News segment. So first, let's look at the chart of Meghan Markle, and as you can see in her chart, she has a Cancer ascendant, which is almost like 0 degrees 54 minutes of Cancer, and she has Rahu, Mercury and Sun all in Cancer. And let's look at her chart from both a Parashara standpoint and a Gemini standpoint, because we can see a lot of similarities and parallels between both the systems, and they both pretty much come up with the same conclusions. So let's look at it. As you can see, she has transiting Rahu. As you know, transiting Rahu is in Gemini now, and Ketu is in Sagittarius. So transiting Rahu is conjoining her natal Mars. And where is her Mars? Her Mars is in the nakshatra called Ardra. The nakshatra Ardra is not easy. The symbol of this nakshatra is a teardrop. So whenever anybody, if you have Ardra planets in your chart, the areas of life those planets rule would have certain difficulties. She has Mars in Ardra, and that Mars got activated by Rahu, which is currently in Gemini. Now what is 12th house? All this is happening in her 12th house. 12th house is foreign lands. It's not your homeland. Okay, Mars is her 10th house ruler in the 12th house. Okay, so that signifies a career in foreign lands. And by virtue of her marriage to Prince Harry and as the Duchess of Sussex, she did have kind of like a career in a foreign land in United Kingdom. And that has been a trend in her life. We look at what happened when the last time this transit happened. However, being in Ardra, even though it's the 10th house ruler, being in Ardra, it does denote difficulties, like I said. Years ago, when the nodes were in the same position, remember Rahu and Ketu, they go through the whole chart every 18 years. So you can always go back and see what happened at that time. What happened in her life when Rahu was activating her Mars at that time? This was the year 2001, and she was trying out a career in diplomatic service in various foreign lands like Buenos Aires and Madrid. Okay, and do you see the similarity with what is happening, what she was trying to do in the United Kingdom? She was almost like she was having a job in the United Kingdom. Being a member of the royal family is pretty much, it comes with a certain set of responsibilities. So it's the same thing that happened 19 years ago. And what happened with that time frame when she tried her diplomatic service job or career? And in a lot of interviews, she has recounted about her experience at that time, that it didn't work out the way she expected it to. She was trying to find her career, trying to find her niche before she got into the film industry. And it didn't really work out. And that is very similar to what's going on now. Right? She was in the United Kingdom, she's married, and now she and her husband have decided to leave and find completely set up a new life at a different place, right? Now, and again, the same thing has happened with Rahu in Gemini, activating that Mars, which is the ruler of the 10th house. In karmic terms, when you think about Ketu and Rahu, I always like to look at the karmic symbology. So, in karmic terms, Rahu is what we are supposed to achieve in this lifetime. And every time it came around and activates her 10th house ruler, she will feel the need to move or to make a change in her career because it is a 10th house ruler. Plus, it's in the 12th house. So, it is a foreign land. So, she'll always have this feeling like she has to be in a different place or in a foreign land. What is the other thing that's happening in this chart? We have transiting Mars, Ketu, and Jupiter, okay? Not to mention the most recent eclipse all happened in her 6th house in Sagittarius. 6th house has to do with enemies, it has to do with stress, with health, with legal matters, with anguish, right? And that's kind of what she has been going through this past year with all these aspects. These are heavy aspects in the 6th house. She feels like she's not in her home. She feels like she's being attacked. And that's a 6th house kind of tendency, right? The other thing, the other major transit that's going on in her chart is Saturn is in her 7th house, just entered into Capricorn, which is her 7th house. 7th house is the husband. And it's basically in anybody's chart, it's the spouse. So in her case, you know, with Saturn in the 7th house, Prince Harry is having some difficulties at this time, some sense of responsibility for his family, to take care of his family. And it's a Saturnian kind of feeling. So again, it comes with a kind of like a burden, but again, it is difficult for her spouse. Saturn's going to be there for 2.5 years. So, you know, it comes with feelings of probably loneliness, feelings of stress in the marriage, and you know it's going to have all these indications in the next 2.5 years because Saturn just entered Capricorn. Now, from a Gemini standpoint, let's look at her chart. You see that she has Ketu Venus aspect. Okay, 4th house Lord is Venus, and Ketu is aspecting it. It's a Gemini aspect. Again, whenever Ketu aspects the 4th house Lord, it comes with a sense of a loss of home, a loss of foundation. And this is in her birth chart. This has nothing to do with the current transits that are going on, but this is in her birth chart. So she has always not had this feeling of home or foundation. She's always felt uprooted and a lack of comfort wherever her home is. And she tries to change it to try and find that comfort. So that is one very big indicator in the Gemini aspects in her chart. But let's look at the current transits, looking at Gemini aspects. When we look at the padas, you can see that her 2nd pada, which is the 2p, and the 4th pada, which is, you know, the 4th house pada, they are both in the sign of Gemini. And who is activating it right now? Rahu. Rahu is activating her 2nd pada and the 4th pada, which have to do with finances and home. 2nd house is not just finances, it's ancestry, it's family. And both are getting impacted now by the Rahu transit. In the Gemini system too, you can see what's happening in her life. And looking at her Chala Dasha, she's running the Sagittarius Dasha with Aquarius Antardasha when it happened. And that Aquarius is in the 8th house in her D1. So what is the 8th house? It's feelings of humiliation and controversy. That's what she endured when that dasha was running in her Gemini, from a Gemini standpoint. Now she's running Sagittarius Capricorn. Capricorn is her 7th house in the D1. So finances are once again a focus, since Sagittarius and Capricorn are 2 houses away. We know that finances are once again a focus. And marriage is also a focus. So just looking at this chart, you can see with the current transits and the dashas that she's having, that you know, her marriage is going through some stress at this time because of 4 reasons. One, Capricorn is the 7th house, okay, and that's the dasha that she's running. So the focus, whenever you run the dasha of a planet or a house, it's a planet in the Parashara system or sign in the Gemini system, but regardless, whenever you run a dasha, that area will be the focus during that dasha. She's running a Capricorn sign dasha, which means that her 7th house is getting activated, and that is going to be the focus during this entire dasha. The second indication is Saturn is activating her seventh house. Saturn is transiting her seventh house in her D1. So Saturn comes with struggles, but when you make it through the struggles, it will be a long-lasting marriage. But you have to get through this patch. The third one is Ketu and Rahu, which are having a Gemini aspect on her Dara Karaka, which is the moon. The moon is the planet with the lowest degrees in this chart. So that becomes a Dara Karaka. And in the Gemini system, the Dara Karaka has very high indications when it comes to marriage or spouse. But do you see that from a Gemini standpoint, that moon, which is the Darakaraka, is enduring a current aspect from transiting Ketu and Rahu, both of them, because the dual signs aspect each other in Gemini system. So that's the third indication. The fourth indication is transiting Saturn has a Gemini aspect on Venus in her chart. Venus in anybody's chart signifies relationships. So Saturn's eyes are also on that Venus. So now you can see that she is, as a whole, because of all these transits and her dashas, she is evaluating everything in her life. And just like she did 19 years ago with trying to experiment with her move to a foreign land and trying to find a career in a foreign land, she's they have made a similar decision this time around to move from there to a different land. United Kingdom might be Harry's home, but it's still a foreign land for Meghan Markle. So that's a 12th house for her, right? So that's Meghan's chart, looking at all the aspects that are going on right now. Now let's look at Prince Harry's chart. Looking at Prince Harry's chart, he has ascendant in Sagittarius, and he has the ruler of his ascendant and the fourth house, which is the planet Jupiter, in the first house. So what's happening right now? All the aspects that are currently going on this year is in Sagittarius, and that is activating all his planets, including his ascendant. So fourth house ruler, fourth house is home, your sense of foundation. It's the place where you're comfortable, right? And his fourth house ruler is Jupiter, which is in Sagittarius in his D1. And it is being currently activated by the transits of Ketu, Mars and Jupiter. And in his case, mainly because Ketu is going over it, it is a nature of a move because it's a loss of home. Okay. Saturn is currently in his second house. It just transited into his second house. Again, that brings into question issues surrounding money, finances, ancestry, which is, he spent his entire life in United Kingdom, home, and basically Saturn is the karmic master. So wherever it goes, it brings up questions surrounding that area. So right now, karmic questions are surfacing regarding his family. He's questioning in his mind who is his family. And there was an eclipse right there in the first house in his D1. And that eclipse also is on his 1 and 7 axis in the first house and the 7th house. So that again is bringing his self, which is the first house, and relationship, which is the 7th house, into focus this year. Because wherever the eclipse happens in your chart in any particular year, that is going to be the focus of that year. And that's the case for him. From a Gemini standpoint, you can see that the fourth pada, again, when we talk about a move, when we talk about changing homes, it's always the fourth house. Okay, his fourth pada is in the 7th house in Gemini. Okay, and that's getting activated by Rahu currently. There's a transit of Rahu on his fourth pada, and that is the reason why he's, again, from a Gemini standpoint also, you can see the same thing. The move is happening. Okay, his Dara Karaka is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet with the lowest number of degrees in this chart. So from a Gemini standpoint, and looking at the Karakas, Jupiter becomes his Dara Karaka, or the indicator of his spouse. Okay, and that Dara Karaka Jupiter is also getting aspected by transiting Ketu and Mars. So there is loss and there's frustration around that area. His spouse is also enduring those feelings. Okay, and right now he's running the Virgo and Pisces dasha, which contains, again, Virgo contains Venus, which is the indicator of relationships. So again, the focus from a dasha standpoint is also to the relationships. And next year he'll be running the Leo Charadasha, which contains his Gnati Karaka, which is the GK, which is going to be Mercury. Okay, so that's again a time he needs to watch out for. But just looking at this chart, you can see that the transits have activated certain events in both of their lives. And knowing that this is happening, and the fact that Saturn's going to be in Capricorn for 2.5 years, which is his second house and her seventh house, they have quite a few things that are coming up for them, which they'll have to get through. And let's pray for their happiness, and hope that they find what they need and what they want by this move, and hopefully everything turns out good for them. And I just wanted to look at this from Parashara and Germany standpoint for an event that's in the news. And next time I'll come back to you with another event that's in the news, and we'll look at it from an astrological standpoint.